Hello YouTubers, and welcome back to the Matthew V 21688 studios on this Tuesday night of November 19th, 2013. And although it's not going to be November 19th when I post this, because I would have posted all of the 2011 250 Motocross Nationals on my channel before this video. But anyways, I'm going to get down to business. If you're thinking that this video is going to be about a yellow card or a red card, you are wrong. If this is about my uploads that I'm going to stop after 2011 250s, no, I'm going to stick around for one more class, and that's the 450 class, which I will be posting sometime in the near future. And I'm actually currently uploading some of the videos right now. I have them on private, so I can work on them whenever I have some time. Unfortunately, I don't have a big course load tomorrow because I only have one class, and that's from 10 o'clock till 11:15. But I do have an early work at 1:15 to go to. But anyways, I'm going to get down to business. Today is November 19th, 2013, even though it will not be November 19th, 2013 when I post this, like I said. But this date is very special because it is actually the birthday of Supercross's own Jeremy McGrath. And I want to personally say happy birthday to Jeremy and his wife Kim and their two girls. And assuming that Kim is still around, but I'm sure that she is, seeing as she must have beaten the breast cancer that she was diagnosed with in 2011. And so hopefully Jeremy's wife is still alive and kicking, and they're doing well. But anyways, what I'm going to do is, this is the first time I've ever done this kind of video. Not only am I going to say not only am I saying happy birthday to Jeremy, I'm also going to be doing a special on Friday when I get the time, because I do have a bit of a hectic schedule ahead of me with some fun on Skype and such, and my school and everything. But anyways, let's get down to business. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start this special off with the announcement. Like I said, I'm also going to do, excuse me, a little burp there. I'm also going to do a birthday special for the king of Supercross himself, Jeremy McGrath. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do strictly Supercross only video games. Now, the first one will likely be me playing Jeremy McGrath Supercross 2000 for the Nintendo 64 console, which I'll try to do later in the week. But when will I post it is the big question. But it will definitely be either this weekend or maybe sooner. Now, the one thing that I'm also going to do is this. Now, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a Supercross race for this game. Jeremy McGrath Supercross World for the PS2. I do have the Nintendo GameCube version of this, but I will not be reviewing that because it's basically the same. But I'm also going to make a bit of a modification to this, because when I first reviewed this back in 2010, my video got blocked in some countries. I think it's Germany that it got blocked in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the settings to where you only hear the bikes and not the music tracks. I will not be playing any music in there, so I can avoid getting a content ID match and possibly putting my channel at risk. Now, if you guys have a bit of a problem with that, I'm sorry, but I don't want to risk losing my channel. I've had it for 3 years, and I really don't want to lose this one. So this is the second thing that I'm going to have. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to do a Supercross race for MX versus ATV Unleashed. This game dates back to 2005. Now, I have not reviewed this game yet, but I don't think I plan on it. But if I do, then I will likely be cutting out the music tracks, because I'm likely going to get some copyright strikes and possibly have my video blocked in some countries, and I don't want that to happen. Because this game dates back to 2005, and that was when Jeremy came out for his part-time season. For one of his part-time seasons, the other one coming in 2006. And also, the one thing that I'm also going to be including, I'm also going to include a game of MX versus ATV Alive for the PS3, where I will be playing as Jeremy himself. It seems like my upload has seemed to have come to a stop, but I'm going to attend to that a little later. Let me see how I'm doing on time here, so hold on, folks. Oh, we're good, about 7 minutes. But anyways, now for this particular video, I'm actually going to start off with some of my favorite McGrath moments. Now, I may not have gotten into Supercross I may have not gotten interested in Supercross until 1997, and that was when Jeremy made that last-minute switch to Suzuki, and he almost won the championship. But I was going to share some of my personal favorite moments of Jeremy himself, and that is that, and one particular moment is the very first race I ever watched, which I actually learned his name along with other guys like Ryan Hughes, Ezra Lusk, John Dowd, Larry Ward, Jeff Emig, Greg Albertine, Mike LaRocco, Doug Henry, Damon Bradshaw, Buddy Antonez, Brian Swank. All those guys I grew up watching until they all hung their boots up. But anyways, one of my personal favorite moments had to have been the Orlando Supercross, which was the very first race I ever watched, when Jeremy came from 10th to 2nd. And then the second race I ever watched was St. Louis, which was his second and final win of the season before he was succumbed to bad luck. But my first full season of watching Jeremy was 1998, when he made the switch to Chaparral Yamaha. And then I actually began to like his riding style, and I even got to watch some races from him back in the day. I even got to see a VHS tape of the 1994 Supercross season, the one that he successfully defended his 250 Supercross championship. And by courtesy of a Honda flashback, I got to see a part of his first ever 250 race back in 1993. That was Orlando, which he finished in 4th. Behind LaRocco, Kudrowski, and Bradshaw, I believe. But I never got to see Jeremy's first win until Motocross Vault, better known as Tony Blazier, uploaded that race. And I do have some races of Jeremy winning, but I only have several of them. Going back to Seattle of 1998. Unfortunately, I have seen him dominate over the years. I do have almost all of my footage is complete. In fact, practically all of my footage of Jeremy in a Supercross or motocross race is actually on my channel. But the one thing I never got to see Jeremy do was win a motocross championship. And then I found out that he actually won that championship back in 1995. Back when he was with Team Honda. And I'm not going to say how old Jeremy is, because even though Jeremy even though most of you know how old Jeremy McGrath is, I actually know myself. I'm actually going to do it out of respect. But there were some moments that I actually never understood about McGrath. And one in particular was St. Louis of 1998, with only 2 quarters to go, and he left the door wide open, and Ezra Luss dove in and kind of cleaned him out. And then when he came for the podium interview, the entire crowd stood up and booed him, and I was upset myself. I just didn't want to see it. And because I was pretty upset with what Jeremy did too. And I even left, and when Tony Blazier had that video on his channel before it got suspended, I remember leaving a comment saying that to this day, I still don't understand why Jeremy didn't protect the inside like how any normal racer would have. And then another user replied back to me saying that he should have, because Luss was pulling that crap all year. But there was another time, as I got older, I actually began to understand Jeremy a little more. And I do have some races of him in 2000 that he won, in which that turned out to be one of Yamaha's greatest years, as Yamaha had 2 winners in McGrath and Villeman. David Villeman, famously called the Kid versus the King, in which Yamaha combined for 14 wins, or 15 wins in, 14 wins in 16 races. Jeremy winning 10, Villeman winning 4, Carmichael and Wyndham winning the other 2 races. But one of my biggest regrets is that I taped over the Anaheim 2 race in 2001, and that was Jeremy's last Supercross win. Because in all honesty, I really thought that the 2001 season was going to be what we were accustomed to seeing since 1998, with Jeremy winning so often. And as a result, McGrath won 72 times in Supercross, and going strictly Supercross only in 2001. And I still remember 2002, when it was between Carmichael and McGrath, between him and Carmichael for the 02 championship. And Carmichael ended up winning 11 races. Jeremy didn't even win 1. In fact, all he had to show was like 35 laps left or something like that. And I really wanted to see Jeremy win. I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and he never did it. And so that was pretty disheartening, because I remember that, because I was an 8th grader, because I was in the 8th grade. And Jeremy was dominating the sport all throughout my elementary school days. And then when I made the transition to intermediate school in 7th grade, when I watched the Supercross season in 2001, I only got to see Jeremy win as an intermediate school student 2 times. Both the Anaheim races of 2001, before he lost in Anaheim 3 to Carmichael, and that was basically it. In a nutshell, you can kind of look at that season as Jeremy kind of blew that season, kind of discombobulated that season, because he blew a triple. If you want to look at it that way, because that's the way I look at it. And like I said, I already gave my memories of 2002. And I'll never forget that time in early 2003, after that winless Supercross season, when Jeremy signed that 4-year deal with KTM to race Supercross. And then I found out, early 2003, after some lackluster performances in Europe, aboard that new KTM, right out of the blue, Jeremy announced his retirement. I'll never forget that day. I was practically brokenhearted. I was really down then, but I still watched the Supercross season anyway, because I was a fan. And that was when Chad Reed kind of took the torch from Jeremy. And ever since Chad Reed came into the 250 class, I feel like I'm seeing another McGrath out of him, because everyone was comparing him to Jeremy McGrath so much and all the similarities. And I followed Chad from his first race in Indy in 2002. And at first I was like, who is this Chad Reed dude? And then, the next thing I know, he's almost winning everything in sight. And when Jeremy came out for that part-time season in 2005, I actually felt that he could win. But he did, and all he could show was a season-best 5th place before he ended his season after the St. Louis race. And then 2006, he would contest in the first 6 races, and then he was done. And McGrath had a better part-time season that year. Unfortunately, one of my biggest regrets was that I didn't get to see the Phoenix Supercross race. And I hope somebody will post the full-length race of that, because I don't have it. That's the thing about it. But the most recent Supercross that I have of Jeremy McGrath, even though he didn't race in it due to an injury in the time trial race, was the McGrath Invitational in 2006, in which he said that would be his last Supercross race, period. And I wanted to see Jeremy at least win something, and he wasn't even out there. Now you're probably wondering, have I met Jeremy McGrath before? The answer is no, I haven't. And I would really like to meet him. And I would really like to go to a Supercross, but today my dad doesn't think it's worth it. And another thing also, the one that I did not mention, is that the 2001 race, which is from Las Vegas, which is actually on my channel, in which that race-long battle with Ricky Carmichael that Jeremy almost won. I'll never forget that race, because I was really hoping that Jeremy would win another race before 2001 was over, and he didn't do it. And I'll say that he almost did. And you know what? If Jeremy hadn't made that mistake in the sand section, I strongly believe that he would have won that race. Because Carmichael came in with 12 in a row looking for 13. The McGrath slid out in a corner before the finish. And that was all Carmichael needed. But Jeremy latched on. And he didn't let him out of his sight. And that's probably the last race that I arguably have of Jeremy actually showing that he could actually challenge Carmichael. Because before that, I was even saying that Lusk was the only guy who could actually challenge Carmichael, and he did that at Dallas. And Jeremy really choked in that race, eventually giving up the Vance Triple Crown that year. But the one thing that I'll never forget about Jeremy was that how much he changed the sport of Supercross. Because McGrath, I've heard people say that McGrath added a style of what Rick Johnson did, what Bob Hanna did, what everybody else did, all the old guys that he grew up watching, and he added a BMX style to Supercross, and then Carmichael changed the sport with his impressive training habits. And unfortunately, Jeremy just wasn't willing to go that extra distance and possibly injure himself, which is understandable. But I really wanted to see Jeremy win a race in 2002, and he never did. So like I said, guys, so anyways, that's kind of my little memories about Jeremy. And I already mentioned that I would do a birthday special honoring the great Jeremy McGrath with the with the 4 games that with the 4 Supercross games that I'm going to play. And I will be playing. Now, if you're wondering, I do have some other Supercross games, but there are 2 in particular, or 4 in particular, that do not feature Jeremy McGrath. Actually, make that 5, because that's EA Sports Supercross 2000, EA Sports Supercross, which I have not reviewed yet. There is also MX 2002 featuring Ricky Carmichael, and there's also MX Superfly featuring Ricky Carmichael, and MX Unleashed for the PS2. So like I said, I will be doing reviews of the 4 following games. I will be doing Jeremy McGrath Supercross 2000 for the Nintendo 64. Then after that will be, and I'm kind of going to go in chronological order with this. So like I said, I'm going to start off with Jeremy McGrath Supercross 2000 for the Nintendo 64. Then I'm going to go to Jeremy McGrath Supercross World for the PlayStation 2. And then next I'm going to go to MX vs. ATV Unleashed for the PlayStation 2. Because this is the only game that Jeremy is in, at least after PlayStation. And the last one I'll be doing is MX vs. ATV Alive. Not Alive, but MX vs. ATV Reflex. I said Reflex. I said Alive earlier, and I want to correct myself. It's actually not Alive. It's Reflex that I'll be reviewing, not Alive. So once again, that's Jeremy McGrath Supercross 2000 for the Nintendo 64. Jeremy McGrath Supercross, Jeremy McGrath Supercross World for the PlayStation 2. Then it's going to be MX vs. ATV Unleashed and MX vs. ATV Reflex for the PlayStation 3. There is also MX vs. ATV Untamed for the PS2 that I have, but I will not be reviewing that because I don't think Jeremy is featured in that game. And also for these 2 games, I will be modifying the options so where you only hear the engine noises and not the music tracks, because I don't want my video to be blocked in countries. And that's going to start once I finish uploading the 2011 Nationals, the 250 Nationals. And in fact, that's actually going to happen. That's actually going to happen sometime from now. But I'll get this video up as soon as I can, and it will immediately follow the 2011 250 Nationals, like I said. So that's all I have to say. In fact, that's actually not all I have to say. I do have some things of Jeremy McGrath memorabilia, but I actually don't have it. I actually don't have the time to share it with it right now because I don't know where it is. Because the one thing I have is a hat from 1997. It was a yellow hat with the number 1 on the front to signify Jeremy McGrath when he was on the Suzuki. But basically, I've said all I've had to say in this video, giving my own memories of Jeremy. and with the final farewell, once again, I just want to say happy birthday to the king of Supercross, Jeremy himself, and wishing the McGrath family well. So for now, this is Matthew V21688 saying so long, and I will see you all when I begin that birthday special for the king of Supercross, Jeremy McGrath. So you don't want to miss that, folks. And I will do some practice races of these two games just so I can get some kinks worked out. But where I'm going to race, that has yet to be determined. So once again, this is Matthew saying goodbye, and close out and so once again, happy birthday to the king of Supercross, Jeremy McGrath, and I will see you all, in a future video. You will not want to miss this birthday special I'm going to do for the king. Good night, everybody, and thank you for watching.